Hello, this is Thomas the Small Engine, and this week I am very happy to showcase to you all my newest custom. Sort of my newest. This one was made 2 years ago before I took my hiatus from YouTube, but I decided against making a video on it at the time. So she's been waiting 2 years for her video. But now that I'm back, I've reconsidered and decided to show it. Probably the biggest reason why I changed my mind is because I feel this is my best custom so far, and it probably won't be topped anytime soon. A lot of ideas I came up with myself went into this one, and a lot of work into crafting it. I think it's my best, and I definitely think you all should see it. So, here she comes. Oops. Here she is. Now first, many might be asking, right from when you saw the title and thumbnail, who is this Jenny Lind? As this is an engine that I've never seen talked about by anyone, and nobody has ever replicated it. Aside from model train makers, because they make literally everything. And it's never talked about because this is a very obscure locomotive in history made a long time ago. So allow me to tell you all her history. Back in 1847, the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway, the same railway that would make Thomas 60 years later, made a class of 10 locomotives that looked just like this. The build of these locomotives was an E.B. Wilson 222 standard gauge engine, and in case that last sentence bored you, that information is an important clue. It had a large driving wheel in the middle and a medium-sized boiler. It was a very successful class. The name Jenny Lind was given to the first of the 10 specifically, named after a real Swedish opera singer who was famous in Europe at the time, named Jenny Lind. Now, when I first researched this engine, I heard of a theory that connects this engine to India. Around 1851 or 52, in Roorkee, there existed the Solani Aqueduct Railway working on its namesake aqueduct, and a locomotive from England was ordered to come and work on the project. And it was one of the first locomotives to run in India. It was ordered from England because India at that time was under control of the British. The Lieutenant Governor of the Northwestern Provinces of India was a man named James Thomason. The locomotive that arrived was named the Thomason after him. It was an E.B. Wilson 222 standard gauge engine. The history is not very certain of the identity of the locomotive, but it was very widely assumed to be the Jenny Lind. Though some evidence suggests otherwise, when building this engine I thought, that wouldn't be any fun. I've got to make it the Jenny Lind and the Thomason. Finally moving on to the actual custom, as you can all probably see, I've built this engine with the likeness of a Shima and done quite a bit of work to it. Probably the biggest thing was I changed chassis. This is an Ashima body on top of Emily's wheels. Both the Ashima that I used and Emily were Mattel eras, so cutting through them was a bit of a challenge because it was sealed to the bottom of the engine, but it could be done. And yes, in case you're wondering, this is an Ashima body that has obviously been changed up quite a bit. I decided to get a look that was closer to the actual Jenny Lind engine. I sawed through the entire cab. I sawed that whole thing off. And that took quite a bit of work. I left the running plate in place, but that was quite an extensive project. I'd never sawed through an engine like that before. And once I was done, I of course painted it all with its nice livery, and the stripes, and even the dome and the funnel. I painted green to try and replicate the Jenny Lind as well as I could. I decided to put a nameplate and number plate on it, both sides, because I just thought that'll just tip it off really well. And I also decided to paint this red stripe along the side of the running board. I didn't paint the whole running board this way, but the side I did because if you look at the picture for some of the Jenny Lind's designs, it looks like that, where it even has some red gearing going over the wheel. And I couldn't do that, obviously, but I thought, let's go with a red stripe, which even continues onto Emily's tender. And yeah, this is obviously just Emily's tender with a red stripe on it. There's nothing else really to it. But I was really amazed with this green design and the shape of it and the 3 squares, how perfect a tender this actually was, because the Jenny Lynn's tender looks almost exactly like that. The only thing I needed to add was the red stripe. And I hope this custom lasts for a while. This lasted for 2 years in storage, but you know, the paint, if you can see right there, isn't perfect. That stuff was probably there right from the start, but you know, I hope it holds up well, because I am very proud of this item. Another thing that I included was this Lego piece that I just decided to use as a firebox. Because I thought, well, if I'm going to have an open cab, I might as well put something back there. And I put a gate around it. Not sure what this is made from, what you'd call this little piece, but it's metal. And a funny story was actually not too long after I completed this custom, I got in a car crash with it. It came out perfectly fine, my car didn't. But right then, I just had this piece with me, not the tender. So it flew and it hit the side of the car and this metal piece popped off. Because it's very thin and there wasn't much I could glue it onto, so I just had to put glue onto that very thin sheet of metal, and when it got hit, it popped off. And thankfully I was able to put it back again, but that was a pretty amusing little thing to see. Since I've decided to make this model in the likeness of both the Jenny Lind and the Thomason, which is an Indian engine, I of course stuck with Ashima's face. And since this character I've created is named Jenny Lind, I thought, well, perfect, female face. I'm very happy to have finally got this video out because I really feel this is my best custom. Even though it has a real basis, to use that engine was my idea. I wasn't using some other user's techniques like with my Merlin custom, so I had to decide how to do everything myself. It wasn't just a simple repaint either. I built a lot of it up. And I think it just has so many little elements that are just so satisfying. The wheel, the name, the firebox, it's just my favorite. And another reason I decided to finally bring her to life was to let you know, she will play a part in my upcoming series. We'll see when.